Hi, guys.
Hi,
yes,
everybody.
we are together, and we are at the Parlour.
It's the first time in what, 2 weeks, 3
Something
weeks?
like that.
That we've been together at the same place. In
Yep.
the same.
So it's exciting, and we're very excited. Yes,
our friend
Danny. We're very excited about our guest that is on today, because we're all fascinated with cryptids and Sasquatches and UFOs and
all things strange,
and
New Jersey
unusual
stuff.
and New Jersey, and it's awesome. And we're just so excited that we had the opportunity to meet this gentleman at I Heart Horror, and he wanted to be on Parlour Tea.
And perfect timing. Holly's saying hello. Hi, Holly.
Hi.
One of the I Heart Horror family.
Correct. So do you want to bring?
I'll bring Tony on.
So do we tell him first who it is?
Well, let Tony introduce himself.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I am Tony DiGerolamo, author of The Pineys. It's about a family of hunters that hunt the kin of the Jersey Devil.
Yes.
Yes. Very cool. We're very excited to hear the story behind the Jersey Devil and all those other wonderful folklore that come out of the Pine Barrens, New Jersey.
So just really quick before we get into all of that, is it just the Jersey Devil that you're interested in, or are there other cryptid and strange creatures that you're also interested in?
There are many different tales in the Pine Barrens and South Jersey folklore. There's witches, there's ghosts, there's pirate treasure, there's all sorts of strange creatures. There's betrayal and technology. It's just everything. It's crazy. It's like peeling an onion in the Pine Barrens. You just keep finding stuff.
I feel like New Jersey in general is kind of like that, but I'm sure the Pine Barrens is a little more concentrated.
Right.
Do you live near the Pine Barrens, without giving away, of course, where you live?
I'm in a more suburban area, but my family's from the Hamilton area. So as a kid, I was always down that area and near the Pine Barrens, and it was very piney years ago. These days it's a little more built up, but down near Ancora, the psychiatric hospital that houses the most dangerous mental patients in New Jersey.
Okay.
Right. It's right nearby Hamilton. There's of course all the blueberry farms.
Oh yeah.
Which
is very cool. Yes. The first blueberries were cultivated in New Jersey in Whitesbog, but it was the Hamilton farmers that picked them up and made millions of dollars off of them. So we have in Hamilton the blueberry millionaires. So we have at one point we had the most millionaires per capita than any other town in the United States because of the blueberries.
Wow. But I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
I have family from Hamilton, so I feel like I should have known that.
Yeah. Are they the rich people?
Well, then if you have relatives in Hamilton, we have the Italian festival every year.
Yes, I did know that.
And that's coming up, and it's it's the oldest Italian festival in the United States since 1875.
Wow, we should go.
We should. Yeah.
So Tony, why don't you tell everybody before we dive in what you do, we're running your website on the bottom, so if anybody's interested in buying your book or finding out some information on where you are, we're just going to run it across the bottom, so people will look at it.
Well, I besides writing the Pineys, I do various events where I do a talk on the Jersey Devil and go through the history. And the talk lasts about an hour. So the basic story of the Jersey Devil, if you haven't heard it, in the 1730s, there was a woman named Leeds, Mother Leeds, they sometimes call her, and she was the 13th child in her family. She had 13 children. The last one was born a horrible monster because she cried out, "Curse this child, let the devil take it." And thus the Jersey Devil was born. It ate the family, flew out the chimney, and has been haunting the Pine Barrens ever since. And that's kind of the basic story. And then there's many variations on the story. depending on where you live and depending on what you've read.
Right.
So do you think, what are your thoughts on the Jersey Devil? Do you think that this is some kind of actual creature, or do you think that it's folklore that has just evolved over the years? Do you think it's a strange animal?
Well, I've heard just about every Jersey Devil story there is, and I've met many, many people who have claimed to have seen it or seen weird stuff in the Pine Barrens. So, there's probably something to it. But the folk tale is based on some historical evidence. The Leeds family existed. Daniel Leeds was the patriarch, essentially. And the guys who wrote the book on the subject, McCloy and Miller, traced the Leeds family back through time using their family Bibles. And they discovered Deborah and Japhet Leeds, and Deborah's considered Mother Leeds. And they lived on Moss Mill Road, right in Leeds Point, across from Smithville. And according to their family Bible, they had at least 12 children. And then they wrote their names in the Bible, but they had a 13th space that was blank.
Well, because you can't really put the devil in your Bible.
Right.
Probably, yeah. I'd imagine.
Are the relatives still living? Are they still Leeds?
Oh, yeah, there's tons of Leeds and Leeds descendants all around South Jersey.
Yeah.
Usually anybody with an old English name in South Jersey is a descendant of, if not the Leeds, some old family who's been in the Pine Barrens for 300 years. So you have names like Leeds, Collins, Shrouds, Fenton, and a few others. And people have traced their lineage. I had a fan. She sent me an email, said she had traced her lineage back through the Leeds family to Harry Leeds, who was in a jug band like in the 40s and was mildly famous. And then she went further back in time and traced her lineage to a woman named Elwell, who was arrested for witchcraft in 1692.
Wow.
And then she had a link to the arrest warrant, and you could read it in the archives there.
Wow.
Was that in New Jersey that she was arrested for witchcraft?
Yep.
Interesting. Sarah Blake is watching. We need to look into that, Sarah, if we've not already done that. Take notes, please. So what started your interest in Jersey Devil history and folklore?
When I was a kid, I had to do a book report. So I was looking for the shortest book in the library. And the Jersey Devil book is a little red book, if you've ever seen the original one. And so from across the way, I was like, oh, there's a tiny little book. And I went and I got it. And I said, this looks cool. And I read that and I did my report on it.
Nice.
Hi,
Kathy. I first became aware of the Jersey Devil when I was really little. My mom went to visit her friend down in Atlantic City, like that area, Ocean City. And she brought home a placemat that was from a diner, I guess. And it had all of the information about the Jersey Devil. And I couldn't have been in like any older than like maybe second grade at that point. And I was fascinated, absolutely fascinated. And the funny thing is that she sometimes wonders why I'm the way I am, but she's the one who started it.
So have you ever been, I don't really know if they do they do investigations that you do go out at night and do it like they hunt for like Sasquatch? Do they do that?
Oh, somebody said best book ever. Is that for me? Thank you. If that's for me. There are people who go out hunting the Jersey Devil, but the people I know who have seen it and are real believers, they would not go hunting for it.
Okay.
They're often very afraid. One guy, some people will tell you a story and they're winding you up, but other people will tell you a story and they're horrified.
Yeah.
One guy was telling me a story. He said him and his buddy were out in his truck and he wanted to steal some corn, as we do in South Jersey when we want corn. So he pulled over to a cornfield and he got out of the truck and he's telling me the story like this, like, I got out of the truck and he said, I got to the corn and I just parted it to look. And there it was right in front of me. And he said, I fell back and scrambled on my hands and knees backwards. And the thing just took off like a rocket. He scrambled back to the pickup, jumped in, started it, and took off down the road, and his friend turned to him and went, "Where's the corn?" And he was just freaked out for a few minutes, and then eventually he sort of got his composure and told him, "Oh my God, you won't believe what I saw." And then he was like, "I haven't been back to that field ever since." So yeah, I mean, some people are goofing around, but some people genuinely saw something,
Yeah.
and they usually contributed to the Jersey Devil. Now, some people see something that sounds a lot like the Jersey Devil, and then they call it something else. So the other day I was reading an account of a guy. He said, "I saw a weird ghost." And then he described the ghost as this giant hulking figure with horns and wings. And I'm like, and he was in Dorothy, New Jersey. And Dorothy, New Jersey is one of the birthplaces of the Jersey Devil. Like, Dorothy lays claim to it. So he called it a ghost. And I'm just thinking, well, that's the Jersey Devil. That sounds like the Jersey Devil. That doesn't sound like a ghost, but who knows? Who knows what he saw?
I've seen a lot of documentaries and stuff on this, and sometimes they try to debunk some of the sightings and all of that stuff, and I get mixed feelings about that because I really want to believe in the Jersey Devil, and I kind of do. I think I do. Not necessarily want to be face to face with him in a cornfield, but one of the ones I was watching showed like this great horned owl as an explanation for the Jersey Devil. I'm not buying it.
No.
There's also the horse head bat.
Yes.
And if you look at that, that looks like the Jersey Devil without horns. I mean, it's ridiculous how much it looks like a Jersey Devil. But that is native of Africa. It's a giant bat. It wouldn't survive a winter. So that's definitely not it. I mean, it would just be impossible. What were they shipping bats over here every year and setting them loose? But when you're talking about 1 million square acres of pine forest, there's just a ton of animals there. And you see things, and sometimes the animals don't do very well on their own for whatever reason. And maybe they're born weird and deformed, or they're starving and crazed, or they're rabid. Who knows? You don't know. When you cross a wild animal, you don't know what you're ever going to get. So,
Right.
when you hear reports of someone, "Oh my God, this thing scratched on the roof of my car," or "it had a giant wingspan," it could be true. It could be something that was in the woods, and it just, you just saw it and took off. I don't blame you.
Have you had the opportunity to ever have a sighting?
Not me. No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Knock
I
on
keep
wood.
looking. I keep looking.
You're one of the ones that's looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I look at my dog. She ain't gonna find it, right? Right, Joan?
Look at her back there.
It's listening.
You're too little to find anything, Joan.
Yeah.
Come on.
He might find her. Be careful.
Yeah, no, I'd have to worry about hawks picking her up.
She's so little.
Yeah.
Hi, Luana.
Yeah. So, besides the fact that you took a book out when you were young, and you actually were fascinated by it because it was, I get it, trust me. When I was younger, trying to find something that I was able to do very quick, I always would do exactly what you do, the smallest one, and like do that and get it over with. But it was very cool that you found it fascinating. Do you believe that there is the Jersey Devil, or do you believe it's some other form of other animal that maybe grew up a little bit?
I think people have seen stuff. I mean, I don't disbelieve that they haven't seen something. Whether it's the same creature over and over again, it doesn't sound like the same creature. I've heard too many different descriptions. But it's a great folktale, and really, the Jersey Devil is part of our culture, and it's really tracked us through history, and you see everything about the United States and New Jersey in it.
Right.
When you hear another story, it's like, oh, okay, this is that part of history. So, like, for instance, in the 1950s, a circus offered a $100,000 reward for the capture of the Jersey Devil, dead or alive, and everybody ran to the Pine Barrens to try to catch it. And that's a very 50s thing, right? Like a circus and offering money, and you can just imagine all the people. This is the era where TV is new. Most people most people are still doing outside stuff. They don't have they're not locked to their phones. Oh, let's go out camping, everyone, and we'll go find the Jersey Devil and make some money. And then the local cops had to put up signs that said the Jersey Devil is a hoax. Did I ever hear of the movie The Last Broadcast? It's found footage about the Jersey Devil. Yes, I have heard of that movie. It's very similar to the Blair Witch.
Yes. Yes.
Well, trust me, when that Blair Witch movie came out, I was packing my bags. I was ready to go. I was very disappointed that it was.
I thought it was a great movie. I love that movie.
It was a hoax.
I love that movie. I found that to be absolutely terrifying and wonderful.
You know,
yeah,
I always sit there and I'm fascinated by the fact about they're so cute. I'm always fascinated by the fact that, you know, and it seems like the same thing with the Jersey Devil, like the Sasquatch, the want, the need, the adrenaline that there is something out there that it's very elusive. We really can't really pinpoint or see it, or there's no, besides tracks for the Bigfoot, there isn't anything like a carcass of some sort that really could prove some of these legends to be real.
Right. Well, the weird thing about Jersey folklore is it always seems to tie in with some amount of history. So I talked about, the Leeds family, and they were real, and the stuff around them. There is also Peggy Clevenger, who was a witch in Pasadena, and she lived there in the 1800s with her abusive husband named Bill. And the legend is that Bill said to her one day, "Peggy, when I get to hell, I'll let you know how hot hell is." And so Peggy nailed them shut in the house and burned it to the ground. And then the next day, the well in Pasadena boiled. And that was Bill telling her how hot hell was.
Wow.
But there is a report from 1857 that talks about old lady Peggy Clevenger when she died. So she was a real person.
Mm-hmm.
And the events around her death were that they found her place also burned to the ground. All her livestock had been butchered. And the story is that perhaps there were some workers who came to her looking for some free booze, and she refused them. And then they killed her and burned the house down and killed all the livestock. But I don't think the body was found, so nobody's really sure. But Peggy was called a witch. And there were many other tales around her. So we don't know what the truth is, because it's 1857 when she died. So there's all this, verbal stuff that just gets passed down over and over again.
Yeah, I find that to be interesting because I do the ghost tours in Keyport and Red Bank, and a lot of the actual ghost stories are rooted in history, and there's been some really tragic things that have happened in this area throughout the years. Mm-hmm. And I find, for me personally, that telling the stories, if there's, you have this historic thing that happened, you add on that paranormal or supernatural component to it, people are far, far more interested, and they are going to remember that much, much clearer than they would if there's no weird, bizarre paranormal aspect to it.
Right.
In some ways, it does help keep your history alive too.
Right. Exactly. I mean, there's a new ghost story I just discovered about William Still. He was the brother of James Still. And I don't know if you've heard of James Still. He was the famous Black Doctor of the Pines. So he was a guy who went into the Pine Barrens. He wasn't an accredited medical doctor, but he learned the healing ways of the Native Americans and learned everything he could from books. And he would practice, his own version of medicine in the Pine Barrens and help people. Eventually, he had many sons, and one went on to become valedictorian at Harvard Medical School. But his brother, as it turns out, I just discovered, was William Still, who was, and the two brothers were 2 of 18 kids from one family, and William was instrumental in the Underground Railroad. And in fact, when he helped an ex-slave escape, he would document their name and their family, and he was instrumental in reuniting families after the abolition of slavery. So he was a huge figure, and there's a ghost story that says he is somewhere south of Tom's River, haunting the area where he would help ex-slaves get on a boat and go to Canada.
Wow. Yeah, I figured that's a good way to spend eternity, is to continue keeping that story alive. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of story I try to incorporate into my books. So I'll take something like that and then maybe expand upon it, and try to get into why these guys are haunting an area or why this happened, because some of the information that just doesn't exist. So for instance, there's a story out of Cape May. This is a pirate related thing that's in book 14 of the Pineys. John Baptiste.
Yes.
Did you read it?
No, go ahead. Go on. Okay.
So John Baptiste was a steward in the Leclerc in 1828 at a time, and he was black, and this was at a time when slavery still existed. So the Leclerc had a mutiny, and they killed the captain and his cabin boy and a few others, and it was horrible. The description is like, it was pretty gruesome. And according to the report, Stewart wanted nothing to do with the mutiny, but the other guys were like, John, you got to take some money or else we got to worry about you. So he wouldn't take it, and then the crew gathered, sort of like they each put in some of their money and gave it to him, put it on his bunk. Then they got back to Philadelphia, and as was common in this sort of situation, the crew kind of went their separate ways. Some of them stayed on the ship and continued to run it, and others escaped to parts unknown. Well, over the course of the next year, there was a big investigation over the mutiny. They hung some of the mutineers. Some of them they cut loose because they weren't really involved. And then eventually they tracked down John Baptiste. So they tracked him down to Cape May. By this time, he had a huge plantation. Him and his wife down in Cape May bought this giant plantation. They were very successful. And the investigators interviewed him and concluded, oh, he's fine, he's innocent, nothing to see here, and went their merry way. So now the question is, and this is all from one article in like Cape May, was Baptiste a pirate who took the money, which is why he was able to buy the plantation, or did he just invest wisely the money the pirates pushed on him, or was he just lucky? We don't know. So I used that story in book 14 of the Pineys to kind of fill in the gaps of what my version of what happened.
So for his story, is his ghost actually seen in that area?
For John Baptiste?
Yeah.
No, not that I've heard chronicled. But it was interesting because his plantation was in Cape May, on a street that is called the Batts Street, and it's spelled Batts. John Baptiste was spelled with 2 T's. So I think the street was originally called Baptiste Street, but they shortened it to Bat Street. Mm-hmm. And the plantation is long gone, and now it's just a bunch of houses, but it's got all this history to it that people there, they probably don't know.
Yeah, I know Cape May does have a really good ghost tour.
Yeah.
They have a really good historical ghost tour too. Yeah, so what do you have coming up?
Well, I got book 15 of the Pineys coming up this month, within a couple of weeks. I am going to be at Clement's Farms for the Blueberry Festival on Saturday from 10 to 4. That should be fun. And then at 5, I'll be at Chimney Rustic Ales in Hamilton, the brewery, from 5 to 9.
That's this Saturday?
That's this Saturday, yep. And you can go to my website for the other appearances. I'm always doing appearances and events and trying to, promote the books and talk about the Jersey Devil. I do talks at libraries and sometimes at the breweries or wineries, wherever they'll let me talk. I'll just talk about the Jersey Devil until somebody says, hey, get out of here.
Stop talking about, maybe you are the Jersey Devil.
What? Me? It's all part of a ruse.
You're doing like the PR for the Jersey Devil all over New Jersey.
That's right. We've cut a deal.
So you have the fascination with this cryptid, which is the Jersey Devil. Is there any other areas, like maybe not in that Pine Barren, that fascinate you as well, that you talk about or would love
in the Pineys, in book 15, I get into some of the North Jersey tales.
Yes.
Because thank you, Holly. Because the weird New Jersey guys who I love, they do a lot of weird New Jersey stuff, but a lot of it's in North Jersey.
Yeah.
Right.
So since I was doing a mafia story, it's sort of mafia versus the Pineys. I wanted to move up north for that book and do some of the North Jersey stuff. So I drop in a bunch of the North Jersey legends and ghosts, and there's a famous witch further up in North Jersey, and then actually, it was the first witch of New Jersey, Abigail Sharp, supposedly the first woman arrested for witchcraft. But we don't know much about her other than she got off. They didn't do anything. She won the case, and they just sent her on her way.
Mm-hmm.
How about Sasquatch? What do we think about Sasquatch? Any thoughts on?
Well, in South Jersey, they call the Bigfoot the Red Eye.
Yes.
So it's like an alternate name.
Yep.
And then if you go to the Bigfoot, the Bigfoot Society website, you can see a sighting of Bigfoot in every square inch of New Jersey, because they have a map and they have all the little dots on the map, and like the entire map's covered. Like literally, Bigfoot's been everywhere. Every place in New Jersey has seen Bigfoot.
I love it. I love it. I wish we had Mothman here. That would be like the best. That's one of my favorites. The Mothman stories.
Yeah. I mean, I find them all fascinating. But
yeah, they all kind of have their own version of I find it like a lot of them mirror the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
And since the Jersey Devil is oldest, it I'm kind of wondering if they all sort of cut and pasted it and then changed the name.
mm-hmm.
There's ones that are very specific to a specific area. So like in Columbus, PA, there is the Aloe Witch. I found out it's this weird little creature that lives there, and every year they have the Aloe Witch Festival, and it's their own urban legend. There's also in Millville, New Jersey, lamb legs, which I only recently found out about. And some local guys did a movie called Menantico Blues, which you can find online. They made it in 2019. And they talk about lamb legs, and they do like a dramatization of lamb legs. Who's this crazy homeless guy with lamb legs who can run really fast, and he drinks antifreeze to forget his troubles.
Like people often do.
I think that would kind of shut down your kidneys, but whatever. Yeah, don't do that. Do
not
not try this at home.
Yeah,
exactly. Only lamb legs.
Yeah, only lamb legs, cooked, please.
Mm.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I just always found these types of things fascinating because, you get the people are really, I think people do see some of these cryptid,
I think so.
Sightings. I really honestly and truly do. It just does not, make sense that.
Well, there's stories in like every culture throughout the world of unexplained animal, human, hominid creatures that we can't figure out what they really are. So if everybody believes it, I feel like there's got to be a little truth somewhere.
Absolutely.
I think they represent the unknown,
Yeah, definitely.
It's people who are trying to process their world and what it is, and there's this little part of the unknown, and it's fun and interesting and exciting. And when you know what the unknown thing is, it makes it less cool. People like the idea of other worlds and other, things that are beyond this world that they don't understand. Often it confirms a lot of their beliefs in not only the supernatural, but religion and, a world beyond our world. So, and that's a comforting thought for people to know that there's more to life than just it's lame, I walk through the woods. But if you've seen and heard something weird, then you can have a cool explanation of why it happened to you.
And a really good adrenaline rush.
Yeah, there are just things that are just unexplained. So like in 1980, there were some guys going ATV driving in the Pine Barrens, and they came across these pigs, and it looked like something had landed on their backs and ate out their brains. And there was a mama pig and a pig litter, and they were all dead, and all their brains were gone. And they couldn't figure out, what would do that, because a hawk wouldn't eat that. It would eat the liver and the heart. It wouldn't eat the brains. And then they went camping not too far away, and they heard the screams of the Jersey Devil, although they didn't see anything. And then they freaked out and left. So unexplained.
I mean, I would freak out and probably leave too.
Yeah.
Or if it was a chupacabra, because that's another good one.
Oh yeah, there's a long list of them.
The J.
Yeah, there's a long list of them. So besides the fact that you're going to be at those locations and that people can go and check you out on thepineys.com, and that you're working out on your next installment in your next book on for next month at some point. We forgot to mention that he will be here.
I was getting there.
Okay.
Because we just decided, we just hammered out some details.
So
half an hour ago. So August 10th?
August 10th.
August 10th at the Parlour.
Tony D will be here at the Parlour from 2 to
2 till question
whenever.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whenever. I'll do the talk. I'll hang out. I'll answer questions. I'll sign books, whatever you need.
I think it's fascinating. I think that, with the whole dynamics of this store, we really wanted to not just branch into one type of thing.
Yeah.
I love the fact of all of this, the cryptids, the UFOs, the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever. I just actually really enjoy hearing people's takes on things and stories and experiences and beliefs and non-beliefs. I think it's really it's a great conversation. Because there's a lot of people out there that do believe, and there's a lot of people out that have seen, but we're just so excited about you coming to the store. And actually, we were very excited about having this come because you're our first person that we've stepped out of, the witchy tarot card.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
horror movies.
Yeah, the horror movies, and we have some amazing people, but it was just really very exciting to step out of it and go into an area that I love. I love that stuff. But I'm excited over that. So
I love it. I love it too. I recommend the books Jersey Devil and Phantom of the Pines by McCloy and Miller. I also recommend Legends, Lords, and Lies by William McMahon. You can read Henry Carlton Beck's books. They're a little tougher to read, but they're kind of old school. But they have some interesting tidbits in them. And there's just tons of books out there on the Pine Barrens and all these crazy stories that you won't hear anywhere else, and they're part of our history, part of our culture. So, you're learning something about, your past.
Right. But, the one thing, I just have the one thing, and then, every area has their, like you said, from a cryptid, but it's also like, you have Lizzie Borden and then that whole scenario of what, and then it gives people, well, maybe she did it, maybe she didn't do it. Jack the Ripper, maybe he did it or they did it or it was somebody else. I just like the fact that, it just keeps this conversation and these things going, but everything seemed to have a movie. Has the Jersey, I don't remember if Jersey Devil has had its It has. I did not.
It's had
Just
several
Movie.
movies.
And, yeah.
Unfortunately, they never really seem to get it.
Yeah.
You know, they get the name maybe, and then a couple other elements, and then you know how Hollywood is. They're not particularly schooled in any one thing, and they kind of get pulled in various different. I mean, I've worked on movies. You get pulled in various different directions simply because the production maybe doesn't have the money, or a certain celebrity or a producer wants to do this or that. So I was in sort of consulted on one particular Jersey Devil project, and it turned out to be kind of a disaster. It never happened. So they don't. Most guys that they try to do these things, it never really comes across. So sad to say.
Because I was always thinking, like, they did a Mothman movie, and they did.
Well,
You
there
know,
was
all those other
the last broadcast that Luana had mentioned. There's like that found footage one.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's sort of in the main in there a little bit, and then it's not, but it sort of becomes its own cult, like
I feel
Sasquatch
like that's,
movie
that's
they
very, very much like New Jersey. Isn't it? It's like really reflective of our culture. Like, you have to kind of be here to experience New Jersey. You can't quite capture us in a movie and do us justice.
No, but it would be great if it did something that sort of gave you the elusiveness of it, but sort of.
They did do
when
I was in grammar school. They used to show us a short film that was a dramatization of the Jersey Devil. And when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. And then years later, I looked at it and I was like, "What the hell is this?" But it was more like In Search Of. It was a little dramatization kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, be careful what you wish for, because as we've seen, like, I remember back in the day when comic book fans wanted, wouldn't it be great someday if they make the MCU movies? And for a while they were great, and now, like, well, so it's hard to say if they would do it justice. But the last sort of media version of the Jersey Devil was in the comedy show What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite episodes.
That was funny. That's a great show. It really,
that was a fun bit. I saw that. He makes an appearance here and there. The New Adventures of Johnny Quest, the X-Files, and I think the Real Ghostbusters had the Jersey Devil in it, or a couple other shows like that where he just sort of appears as a side character.
Yeah.
But when they try to do a movie, it so far it hasn't worked out. But maybe someday, who knows?
It just would be nice to represent. I mean, you said that it is something. I know. You said that there was one of the oldest cryptids known. I think that at some point it would be great that someone pays it the respect and homage that it deserves, like they did for the others. And
well, we have a hockey team.
Yeah.
Not quite the same.
Well, it's not the same thing.
Not even a little bit.
We have a roller coaster.
Yeah.
We have a tattoo parlor, a mini golf place named after the Jersey Devil, Jersey Devil Jeep, Jersey Devil Marina, Jersey Devil Chocolate, Jersey Devil Wine, Jersey Devil Lager, Jersey Devil Chili Fixins, all kinds of stuff. Jersey Devil down here.
Right. We have to go there.
Yeah.
I mean, just so you know, I mean, the area is not like there's not people wandering around the Pine Barrens, are there? Like people just going?
There are people live there.
Yeah, but people live there, but they're not like expecting like everybody let's all go.
Well, it's not like a tourist destination for the Jersey Devil, if that's what you're asking.
No, some people come down to Leeds Point looking for the Jersey Devil, and the locals will tell you that they, I've suggested to the locals in Smithville that they do a tour, about the Jersey Devil, and they always say no. And I say, why? And they're like, yeah, we don't need any more drunken college students coming out looking for the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Well, Melinda has a good point here. Maybe we need a parlor trip.
There you go.
To search for the Jersey Devil. As long as there's no ticks. That's my big thing with going into the woods.
We'll have to go in the fall then.
Yeah, we'll have to go later.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah. So, is there one other fast question before we wrap up?
Mm-hmm.
Is there more sightings in certain weather, like seasons that you've noticed? Like, is that something analytical? Like, oh, there's more
What are the
sightings in
metrics? What are
fall.
the
Yeah. And there's more sightings in spring. Like,
devil season?
I just was wondering.
I don't think so. The best book for sightings is Phantom of the Pines. It has a listing of every sighting from 1730 to 1996.
Oh, that's cool.
And then after that, you have to go on the internet, but the internet has quite a few of them. You could also put in Jersey Devil in Google Maps, and a lot of the 1909 sightings appear. The last sighting was in 2021 that I know about, and that was in Millville. A couple driving home saw it on the side of the road, pulled over. It was covered in black horse fur. It had wings. It took off into the night sky and disappeared. The most recent video is from 2015 or 16 at the Pomona Golf Course. You could see it flying around. It looks like a llama with wings. And so it's, it's tough to pin down. You just have to be in the Pine Barrens, I think.
Yeah.
Probably at night, probably a little drunk.
We can accommodate that.
Yeah, there we can.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We're adults. We can do that.
The last time we checked, we were adults.
Well, I mean, we're of legal age. Let's leave it at that.
So, anything else that you would like to put out, let people know about you and what you do?
I just travel to South Jersey, plying my books. Much like I during my talk, I talk about how Ben Franklin was involved creating the Jersey Devil legend because he was trying to sell his Poor Richard's Almanac, and he was smearing the Leeds family because they published the Leeds Family Almanac. And so like Ben Franklin, I am trying to not smear the Leeds, but trying to sell my books any way I can. So I find it like these interesting sort of, they say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes kind of analogies.
Right.
So I like to think I'm like Ben Franklin. I got glasses and a book to sell, but I'm not quite as ruthless as him. He was a bit nutty back in the 1730s when he was pushing that book.
Wow.
I have one thing that I have to do just in case my sister is watching, because I think that she will be.
Okay.
Really quick. Nope, can't find it. There we go. If my sister's watching, she needs
there you go. Yeah, that's the Pomona Golf Course. Oh. Nice.
I just had to. My sister and I had a podcast that we did. We did an episode on the Jersey Devil, and that was yeah. Anyway, let's see if she's watching. That'll be my test.
Well, she can rewatch it.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to you being, here at the Parlour on the 10th. We'll put something together and we'll share it with you that you could share with your wonderful fans, and if they would like to come, or they're more than welcome. We're excited to have you.
It'd be really fun.
Yeah, it would be really fun. And then that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Any last words from you, Tony?
I'll see you on August 10th, Parlour fans.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming by and engaging in the conversation. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Parlour Tea.
Have a good night.
Bye.